Good afternoon, everyone. Black hole, not really glowing bright hole. Milky Way center. Euthanize camels, Australia, lack of water. Lack of water, Zimbabwe, poster child elephant. Look at the depths of the Great Depression, 1934, many different items to compare. Couldn't hold the gold. Gold's going to get scarce. Discoveries down, millionaires migrating, world of debt. Japan laying on the solar panels thick over the hills reminds me of beginning construction. Perhaps it's an illusion, or perhaps it's perspective of the new. Then we get the full picture. Starting off in space, lost in space, James Webb Telescope, the brick. And oh, was that Sagittarius A? The Milky Way central region black hole supermassive. Oh wait, it is a glowing orb. Guess they misnamed that one. But if we look at the brick, carbon monoxide and other gases, warmer than they thought, empty space nonetheless. They can't figure out why there's no stars forming in there. Because there's no Birkeland currents. That's why. But they're still trying to zoom in on the quintuplet. But I do want to bring into Sagittarius A. Because, you know, supermassive black hole, we keep hearing it sucks in light, nothing escapes. And suddenly we're looking at consciousness exuding some kind of pulse energy waves coming out. I guess we have to redefine existence itself. Let's jump from high tech to low tech, taking you back to the 1930s. Dots on a line. 1930 to 34 at the very bottom, lowest economic activity of the Great Depression. That would have been February 1934. This is the amount of drop in percentage of said category. So if we start at around 100%, 1930, farm products is the one I'm focused on, the very follow the bottom line. If you come out to 1933, you're going to find that dropped nearly 60% in pricing. Foods as well. Commodities dropped, but not nearly as heavily. And if we looked at different types of products, the raw materials dropping 45, 50%. Finished products only dropped, 25%. So it gives you an indication of where this might move if we're going to repeat something like this. So they do give you the final lowest here in 1934, whether it was February, whether it was May, whether it was March, April. But farm products by far takes the cake. It is, 60% down below what it was early 1930. But I'm looking at these other different categories here, foods, but we're experiencing inflation on that incredibly right now. But as we've come up and you kind of mimic the past, it looks like building materials, chemicals, house furnishings, metal, and all these types of things might hold more value than farm products. But people need to eat every day. Speaking of building materials, this comes from a Roman lithograph, apparently in the late 1600s. That's massive construction. Little tiny humans, I don't know how they're doing that. But the complexity of the wall, the size of the stones, the fitting together, very similar what would be pyramidal construction, and then drilling into the center to have an offset locking stone in there as well. Incredible architecture. Must be a missing piece of history that we can't replicate or have lost. Gold has soared past $2,000 an ounce. All-time record high prices. Wars in Israel and Ukraine. Rate cuts on the table, fueling gold's meteoric rise. Call the proud Americans, the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Mention the Adapt 2030 channel. You're going to get some great in-class service. Also, Patriot Gold Group has a no fee for life IRA where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. No fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Give them a call, 888-546-7020. And now on with the video. But what is old is new. This is from the 1920s, late 1920s, same era. I think it was 1928 on this image. New York City. Parking garages of all things. Stacked parking. Again, how many things are recycled? What's old is new. It's always cyclical. Inventions. Up and up to the top level of the car. Up and up for your prices. So if we compare this with the 1930s, it's kind of an inverse where foods dropped in price 50 to 60%, but we're seeing a 25% increase in restaurant food prices, electricity, groceries, etc. So this seems to be a different animal entirely than what was the Great Depression. Now, the thing that started me on these food prices was, remember back late November, a couple weeks back, there was a video came out about a $16 Big Mac combo meal. And of course, I've been on the case. $16, I think, that's quite expensive. You know, I'm not sure exactly which part of the country it was in. So I found somebody who's done specific Big Mac meal related monetary research, tracking the price of Mickey D's medium Big Mac meal. It wasn't the combo jumbo pack meal. This is medium pack meal, but you can see the price is continuing up, an increase of 16%. So I don't know how that fits with official figures of just a few percent of inflation in our food prices. Big Mac tells all, spills the dirty secret. You're going to have to think about the fats, the meats, etc. But then there's this whole demonization campaign against meat itself. So we are absolutely in a new world. And I would ask you to challenge your mind on how you are going to procure food, grow food, trade for food for your families and yourselves. You know, I'm asking myself these very same questions because the world we are entering, it seems that supply chains are already locking up. If you looked at some of the reports coming out of the ports across the United States, there's nothing or very little in the ports at all, or ships waiting offshore, or even berthed unloading is nil. I mean, zero. So something has jumped the shark. Either the U.S. Treasury bonds are not accepted at delivery any longer, or the mechanical movement of goods, the world has split already. I'm not sure, but we are going into something new, different, and unusual. The past can only guide us so far. You need to eat. That's the number one thing that we're going to have to collectively figure out is, how do we eat and have enough nutrition, fats, oils, and proteins as we move through the transition? And also monetary. This is actually wealth. This is not even money. Gold and silver, that's wealth. Always has been, always will be. Those fiat green pieces of paper are money. So if we're looking at gold discoveries top there, 1990 to 2020, William Middlecoop wrote the book. Throwing out some information here. Gold discoveries. Not really trending up that high. And copper discoveries even lower. And when we talk about a gold-backed currency, which the BRICS nations are doing as we speak, and after listening to Jim Willey, it's not really an abandonment of the dollar so much. It's more of an embargo against the usage of the U.S. dollar. Huge difference. But if we look at China Treasury holdings versus gold reserves, they have split. So the treasuries are down, gold is up. So again, if China's going to send us something and they don't want to take T-bills at the port, then what? Do they get a tanker of oil to settle? This is the world we sit in right now. Nobody wants our treasury bonds anymore as good delivery. So what will they take in lieu of? So China also introducing zero tariff imports for a bevy of 6 African countries: Angola, Gambia, Republic of Congo, Madagascar, Mali, Mauritania. Zero import tariffs. So, you know, game on for them as well. Mineral resources, all kind of investment. They are bringing Africa to the 21st century. And imagine everything that will be required to do that, financed by Russia and China. So where are these millionaires moving around our planet is the question. So the green is where they're going to. The red is where they are leaving. Obviously the behemoth, China, where are they migrating to? They might go, oh, they're going to head to the U.S. and Canada. Not really. That's only 3,700 total. But if you look at the UAE and Singapore, Singapore itself's nearly that. And UAE eclipses that. But Australia, I can't believe, I really am shocked to see this number that many millionaires are moving to Australia. I mean, what is known in the southern world that we don't know about? I am just curious. Because if we map the world out in terms of debt, the United States, China, Japan, the largest, there's probably an inverse where these millionaires are heading to comparatively to what we see. So the larger the square here is the more avoidance area. And speaking of humanitarian assistance, oh, the animals, the poor little animals, we love the animals. Camels, elephants, squeeze them and love them. Except in Australia, they're going to euthanize more than 10,000 camels. They drink too much water. They're going to be cold. But on the inverse, in Tanzania and Zimbabwe, they're like, oh, the elephants don't have enough water. They want to put boreholes down there and use solar panels to bring water up on water pumps. A tale of two continents. The poster child, elephant, nobody cares about. Kick the camel to the curb. And you can see the optics on that one. Clear and simple. Nobody cares about these animals. It's purely for narrative optic. That's it. You're putting solar panels down, digging wells and everything for the elephant, yet the other ones, well, they're too much water. We just need to get rid of them. You know, an elephant consumes far, 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 far more water than a camel does. All right, so if you put those in a comparison, they should be using the same metric, like we need to get rid of all the elephants. They're consuming too much water. Well, if you read deeper into the stories on both of these species, humans have put up too many roads, too many fences, too many cities, too many housing complexes, so they're cut off from their natural roots to go find the resources they need, like water. Then they blame it and say, oh, there's a shortage of the water for the animals. Well, not really. We're the ones who interfered with their migratory patterns, so again, blame the human. But this time, humanity, we got it. We got the solar panels here. Look how much better that is than the trees. We are producing so much electricity on these hillsides. Check this out. I want to zoom it in for you. I mean, just the beauty and elegance and the shapes in the blending of natural versus artificial is epic. It should have won an award, a magazine cover for the aesthetic look. And I think about, you know, I have seen this somewhere before. Oh, this is the beginning of that. Yeah, the Star Wars thing. That's the beginning of what it would look like if we continue going to the solar panels because of the camels and the elephants. And ye shall be assimilated. Resistance is futile, as we have heard. So get ready for the world to get covered in silicone. And before that happens, we're probably going to have a little bit of emergency, so you might want to think about storable foods, 3-month emergency food supply, Adapt 2030, and My Patriot Supply. That link's in the description box below. And I'm also putting up uncensored content that I cannot put here on YouTube over on Patreon. And subscribe, star a couple times a week. Usually those videos are about 20 minutes to half hour long. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.